Morning. Hello, internet. Cheers. I got all your questions last night. There were loads of them. So I just wrote down a bunch of them and I'll give it a go at answering the best I can. From your perspective, this is you watching a video of me answering questions. From my perspective, this is me alone talking into my laptop. So it's slightly weird. But here I go. Question 1. Toby, how are you doing, mate? I'm really good, thank you. It's summer here in Toronto and it's really, really lovely. I haven't had to put a jacket on or a jumper for about 2 months. It's really, really hot all the time. The city is actually lovely in the summer. It's fucking horrible in the winter, but I'm really, really making the most of the summer months. If you were exiled to a country, what would that be? I think I would want to go and live in Costa Rica. They don't have an army, and they've got like the best wildlife ever. And I don't think they use any fossil fuels anymore. They're like completely divested, and there's just monkeys lying around. I imagine. Seems like a really, really cool place to live. I keep texting my family, telling them to just move to Costa Rica, and I think if they did, I'd go with them. Maybe start some sort of eco hotel or something. I think they've got a lot of eco hotels. Do something like that. Go live with monkeys. I know they've got caterpillars that can kill you. And they live in shoes and stuff, but I think it's a cool place to go. What happened to the squirrel your mum was looking after? Yeah, so my mum rescued a squirrel. She like disturbed a nest and the squirrel babies fell out on the ground. They were like really, really, really young, like only a couple of weeks old. And one of them died and the other one she nursed back to health amazingly. Like squirrel babies they can't even piss by themselves. They have to like be, it's just looking after a tiny little thing is a nightmare. She had to like feed it with a tiny paintbrush of milk every 2 hours for about a month, and then eventually it sort of started looking less like a fetus, and then she gave it to my grandfather, who's like amazing with animals. Used to have horses in a monkey sanctuary when my mum was growing up, and he's sort of like an animal whisperer, and he looked after it, and then I think he released it into a park near his house. So it's all good. It's all good. The squirrel lives, I imagine, as long as it hasn't been, eaten by a dog or something. What would you rather be fluent in all human languages or be able to talk to animals? That is a really good question. On the one hand, travelling around the world and speaking to everyone would be really cool, but on the other hand, like talking to dogs and stuff would be amazing. I think I'm going to have to go with, talking to animals. I'd like to talk to animals. I'd like to know what's going on in the dolphin's head. What's the one moment in your life you wish you could redo? None. You can't have any regrets. If you have regrets, well, they're pointless. And anyway, if you take one decision back, then you end up taking them all back. You can't have one without the other. All decisions in your life have led you to this exact moment. So you can't have the bad decisions without the good. So nothing. What is your pet peeve? People eating really loudly. I can't stand it. I need to get better at it because you got to live and let live, but fucking hell, I don't like it. Especially when it's gum, because that's not even nutritious. You're not even getting anything out of gum. So what's the point? Just with your mouth closed. Just eat with your mouth closed. Where am I? What would be the worst superpower? Me and Caitlin used to talk about this for ages. Think of the worst superpowers. I think the worst one we came up with was to turn into a laptop once permanently. Or the power to have other people read your thoughts. Like the reverse telepathy. That's pretty shit. If you could go to only one music festival, which one would you go to? I guess Glastonbury. For those who don't know, I think it's the biggest in the world. It's in England, in the countryside somewhere, like a couple of hours from Stonehenge, and it's amazing, and it's weird. At night, it's weird. There's a whole area of it called Shangri-La that sort of opens up in the night time, and a lot of art and strange bars and weird characters. I like English music festivals. Like Coachella and stuff like that is not really my vibe. It's too clean and nice. I like something a little bit weirder. If you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be? I think David Attenborough. He's my hero. I don't actually know that much about him, to be honest, like, apart from the basics, but I've just watched his documentaries since I was young, and he's unbelievable. He's so amazing. So yeah, I'd like to pick his brain over dinner. Dead, if he was dead though, I guess Hunter S. Thompson would be a pretty interesting dinner guest. I heard this story about him, like, ordering like 6 banana daiquiris and 6 banana sundaes when he was having lunch with Tom Wolfe, and then he ate them all, and then just went, "Waiter, again!" and ordered it all again. So that might be quite interesting. If you could go back in time, would you change anything? Same deal. We know from about regrets and stuff. You can't go back. You can't change anything. We know from time traveling movies that it doesn't go well. Whatever you change, it changes everything, and then you end up messing up the future. Also, can someone please explain to me the logic behind Terminator? Like that she's gonna get killed by the Terminator, so someone comes back to protect her, to allow her to have the kid in the future that's gonna save the world. But the guy who comes back to protect her is the guy that impregnates her to have the kid. So if he'd never gone back in time in the first place, how did he have the kid to go? It doesn't make any sense. It's a weird time loop. I guess Terminator assumes that time is circular. Is that what? So can someone explain it to me? Do you have a favourite song at the minute? Yeah, I've been listening to Chemical Brothers' song, the new one called Go. That's really amazing. It's just so catchy. Yeah, I've been listening to that a lot. How long would you survive in a zombie apocalypse? Me and Rachel Scarston, who plays Elizabeth, were talking about this the other day. Because Toronto's in the water, so I reckon best bet is to go down to the waterfront and get a boat, steal a boat. If someone's in it, I guess I'm going to have to hit them with a brick. Stay on the boat and then wait for winter. And hopefully in the winter times the zombies freeze. But we looked this up, and apparently zombies don't freeze in the winter. They're just like, their blood slows. Like when you put vodka in the freezer, it doesn't freeze because there's something in it. I guess the alcohol in it. But and there's a protein in zombie blood. But I mean, like, they don't even exist. And we looked it up, and there's some zombie researcher called Kate something or other who's like explaining all of this stuff. Kate, what are you talking about? Zombies aren't real. How? It says like she has observed through like looking at zombies and stuff. What do you mean observed? When you observe them in your own mind, they're not real. You're absolute lunatic. So if the winter doesn't kill him, I don't know. I don't think I survive very long. Maybe I'm on the 12th floor of my building, so maybe I could just stay up here. But then I'd just run out of food. I don't think I'm built to survive something like that. I wish I was. I wish I could, like, grow my own crops and I knew how to like fix a car and stuff. But I'd be fucking useless in a zombie apocalypse. I guess I can run really quick, but no, I don't think I'd survive very long. What can you tell us about season 3? I can't tell you much, but I can tell you that we've shot a few scenes that are going to make you cry. They're going to make you cry, and they're really, really good. We shot. I can't say what it is, or why, or when, or what, but there's a dance in it. There's a dance that we filmed, and it's really lovely. It made everyone cry. You're going to cry. Who's your favourite artist? I really like this woman called Yayoi Kusama. She's a Japanese artist. I think she's in her 80s now, and she lives in a mental asylum. She sectioned herself. I think she hallucinates and sees strange patterns and stuff. And she did this thing called, oh, I can't remember the name of it, but they're called infinity rooms. And they're like mirrored rooms that you get like well, when I went and saw it, there was such a massive queue that I waited about 3.5 hours to get in, and then I only got to stand in the room for like 30 seconds, which is a bummer. I wanted to spend like an hour in there. It's like, so there's got mirror on all sides, and go in, and there are all these little fairy lights hanging from the ceiling, and the lights go on as you're in there, and because there are mirrors on all sides, the little fairy lights are reflected infinitely in every direction. You know when you stand in front of a mirror on both sides and you try and look behind your own head, and it's like it goes back forever, but you can't really see it because your head's in the way. You can see around your own head because there's mirrors everywhere, so you can see in every direction forever. It's amazing. It feels like being inside of a galaxy or something. I know we're inside of a galaxy anyway, but like being in space. You can see the lights like reflected to an infinite plane. It's the only time that I've ever seen infinity represented in art. Really, really cool. Have you read any good books whose adaptations you'd like to star in? Yeah, my favourite book is Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. It's so dark and brutal and brilliant. It's about a gang of they're called the Glanton Gang, and they go across America scalping Native American tribes and stuff, and then they just lose their minds and just start scalping everyone and everything, and they're led by this guy called the Judge, who's like, I think Time magazine called him like the 17th best villain of all time in literature. He's got no hair, he's huge sort of baby with who's into law and the balance of the planets and the elements and stuff. He's like incredibly smart, but also a complete psychopath. And the lead in it is the main character is just a boy called the Kid. And whenever they make that film, I think Ridley Scott's got the rights to make it. I think I might be wrong. Someone's got the rights to make it. It could be the best movie of all time, I think. Not just the best Western, but the best movie. And I'd love to be in that. Play the Kid, or something, or whatever. It might get made in 20 years or something, and by then I'll be old enough to play someone else in it. But if you're up for an amazing read that is also horrific, read that book. Are you drawn to Oriental philosophy? Yes, I am drawn to Oriental philosophy. Another recommendation is Alan Watts. I love him. He